We are back for the Pebble Beach Pro-Am tournament after a small winning weekend last weekend. Let's talk some golf. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I'm your host, Steven, and we're here to talk a little round white ball. That's right, baby. Thank you guys, everyone, for watching last weekend on our first golf video. That was a lot of fun. We'll get into the bets recap and how that all went, but what another crazy golf tournament where we had another triple digit odds winner. I mean, it was just wild. Matthew Pavon, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. Great putting week and just a great weekend in general. And a lot of those guys at the top of the list were not big name guys. So congratulations to him. The long shot streak continues on the PGA Tour. But now we move to the famous Pebble Beach tournament for the Pro Am. We're going to go over the tournament preview and all this because there's a lot of intricacies and different things that are going to be going on. But the celebrities usually play for about 3 rounds with the professionals. This time it's only going to be two. I don't think it's as many celebrities as there used to be. But it's just going to be 2 rounds now, and we're back to the Thursday through Sunday schedule. And then Monterey is usually a course that they play as one of those 3 rounds. That is not going to be the case. We're not going to be playing at the other two courses, which we will talk about. So, but we got a first round giveaway again. We did not have a winner yesterday or last weekend. Kevin Yu was the first round leader. How did nobody get that? That was obvious. I'm just joking. Cantlay, I think, was in second, though. We may have had a Cantlay guess, but either way, it's now bumped up to $40 on the giveaway. All you have to do, leave a comment below with the first round leader. How hard is that? Dude, these odds and the first round leader are very difficult. We will get a winner. I know we will, but it is now $40 to the winner. If we have a tie for it, we'll split the money. But just dig deep and try to find that first round leader. And on this one, it might matter what course they're playing and things like that. So be sure to check that out. So make sure to join that. I want to get a winner on that one. But in this video, we're going to recap the Farmers Insurance best bets that I had. And then we're going to give you another detailed overview of this course. I'm talking Pebble Beach and the tournament, of course, and the past winners, what it takes to win at this tournament, things like that. And then we're going to give our best bets for the weekend. Hopefully, we can have another profitable weekend to start out the PGA Tour season. And then we're going to wrap it up with the bets recap. So hit that like button, leave a comment below, help this channel grow, help more people see this video on YouTube. I want to grow this golf community. It's a ton of fun talking golf. And I know there's a lot of you out there that like golf as well. So I'm ready to get started. And it starts with the bets recap. All right, let's start out with that outright winner, and that freaking sucked. Again, plus 1100 in golf. Your record is not going to be good. It's all about the units you win. You're not going to have an above 500 record. That's for dang sure. So, anyways, he shot a 4 under first round and then absolutely crapped himself in the second round on that tough South course, shooting a 75 and missing the cut by one stroke. Didn't even get to the third round. After that first round, I was pretty positive that he was going to compete this weekend and all this stuff. And then the South course, which is harder, just absolutely crushed him. Then Keegan Bradley, top 20, did not work out, plus 140. He gained 0.41 strokes total on the tournament, finished tied for 43rd. I mean, if you look at all the stats and everything, he did okay. I mean, 43rd is nothing to shake your head at. But unfortunately, he didn't just get it done. He didn't have any category approach or anything where he just dominated. He was just okay. So tied for 43rd, not good enough for a top 20. Sahith Theegala, plus 350. That did not work out for a top 10. He tied for 64th place. That's not quite going to get it done when it comes to the top 10. He lost 0.15 strokes total in the 4 rounds. Obviously, you're not going to get anywhere near the top 10 if that happens. He wasn't great on approach. I thought he'd be a little bit better. He wasn't terrible, but I thought that would be one of his strengths. So unfortunately, he did not get the job done. And then the winner, the guy who carried us 1-3, and we won a half a or a quarter unit to this weekend because of Mr. Tony Big Man Finau, the eighth worst putter last weekend, and he still finished in the top 10. He lost almost one full stroke on average for the tournament putting, but it did not matter. This guy struck the ball extremely well. One of the best strikers on the entire weekend. If he was just like average at putting or a little above average at putting, he probably would have won this tournament. But I didn't really care. I just needed top 10 and plus 275 got it done. So 1-3, but we got it done and we won a whopping 0.25 units with that 2.75 win. And obviously, Morikawa was only a half unit bet for that outright. So, season record, again, the record doesn't matter 3-5, but we are up 1.55 units. I can't wait to hit an outright. I don't know when that day is going to come, but hopefully it's pretty soon. So, anyways, that's the recap from the Farmers Insurance Now, let's go give a little course and tourney preview for Pebble Beach. All right, before we get into the nitty gritty for this tournament, I'm just going to pop up the glossary again for those of you that are new to betting golf and just talking golf and all that. These are the different terminologies when it comes to strokes gains, shots gained, whatever you want to call it. I popped this up last week. I'm just going to show it again. Take a screenshot. I won't go over it all, but it just tells you different stat categories as to how players are in that category, whether it's approach, around the green, putting, things like that. So these are just some of the stats. Hopefully this helps. I'm working on making a second page for some more stats that are out there. Obviously, it's not just six, but anyways, that's what those mean. Hopefully that helps you out a little bit. But now let's move on to the next slide. Let's preview this classic Pebble Beach tournament. As you can see in the lower right, Justin Rose, the wily veteran, was the 2023 winner last year. So like I mentioned before, Pro-Am style for 2 rounds. It used to be three. It's now the second of 8 signature events, which means it has $20 million purse and less players. We only have an 80-man field and a no-cut event. I'm not a huge fan of no-cut events, but you know what? It is what it is. Everyone's going to be playing all the way through the weekend. And this time, unlike a lot of Pebble Beach tournaments, 9 of the top 10 players in the world will be playing. So that's going to be awesome. We got some great competition, including Mr. Rory McIlroy making his first start in America this year. Two courses, Spyglass Hill and Pebble Beach, kind of like last year or last weekend. Spyglass is going to be played either the first or the second round. That's it. And then Pebble Beach will be played the other 3 rounds. And then here's the past 8 winners, just to kind of give you an idea. It's kind of been all over the place. I'm going to be honest. It's tough. It's not a ton of favorites. But Justin Rose, Tom Hoge, I mentioned this last weekend. Tom Hoge is one of my maybe my best win in golf. When I bet him to win at Pebble Beach a couple years ago, that was awesome. He was huge odds. I only bet like 7, 8 bucks on it or something, but it was still nice. Daniel Berger, Nick Taylor, Phil Mickelson, the lefty, Ted Potter, who is not playing in this tournament, Jordan Spieth, and Vaughn Taylor. I think he's playing. I don't even know. But either way, those are the past 8 winners at Pebble Beach. Let's move on to the next slide. And let's just talk about the course real quick. Like we mentioned, Pebble Beach played 3 of the 4 rounds. That's the only one with shot link. So we're not going to get all the stats for Spyglass Hill for this tournament. It's only going to be at Pebble Beach. Pebble Beach, a little different than last week, which was a very long course. Pebble Beach is under 7,100 yards. Rough is not a big deal. So if you miss a little, you're a little inaccurate, you miss in the rough. Unlike last weekend where it did matter, I think the rough was like 3.5 inches thick. It's not that bad this one. 116 bunkers. And the crazy part about this, when you analyze this tournament, there's the fewest amount of 300-yard drives. You have to play more strategically. There's more like angular holes and things like that. You can't just whip out your driver every single hole. So it's crazy. I think the average drive distance was like 275 or right in that range. So that's pretty crazy. Smallest greens on the tour. How about that? POA greens again, and the smallest greens to land on. There's one water hazard. Yes, as you see it right there, it's called the Pacific Ocean. That's it. That's the only one. Weather is what's going to keep these scores in check. I think the winning score is around 16, 17 under. But the weather, man, it wasn't very good last year, and they had a delay and didn't play it until Monday. We have wind and rain expected for the first, second, and fourth rounds. Delays are possible. You know, some of this is going to be kind of luck. Are you going to get out at a good spot or maybe a break in the weather, things like that? But Pebble Beach is going to be some interesting weather, so something to think about when you're picking your golfers for this weekend. Do you want to make sure you have guys that haven't just completely folded when it has rain and wind happening? So, putting at Pebble Beach is hard. This is wild, guys. Putts made within 5 feet, third lowest percentage on tour at this course. Putts made from 5 to 10 feet, the second lowest make rate on tour. And putts made from 10 to 15 feet are only 25%, the lowest make percentage on tour from that distance. I mean, it is absolutely tough to putt here. And that's why it's tough to predict a winner because someone just has to get hot. But you're going to have guys that you bet on that are going to miss small putts and you're going to get pissed off. But guess what? Everyone else is going to be missing small putts too for the most part. Key stats to win on this course, like we talked about last weekend. The approach shots are huge again. Lowest greens in regulation percentage on tour. It is tough to hit the green and land your ball at the green. And that's what makes around the green important too. You're within 30 yards of the green. You got to have a good pitching, good wedge game, good around the green game because it is tough on this course. You don't want to leave yourself with long putts, although short putts are tough too. But also, unlike last week, where you're shooting from 200, 250 out mostly on your second shot, you're going to be about 75 to 150 yards out on most of these holes because it is a shorter course. So, something to look at is proximity, which is a stat. How people play and how many strokes they gain on shots from 75 to 150. So 150 yards in, that's going to be important. Shots gained total on courses that are less than 7,200 yards also is something to look at. And then putting. It's always putting, especially here on the POA greens. Who is good, who's not. But again, putting is one of those things where it can be great one weekend and then tough the next weekend. But anyways, those are some stats, keys to win on the course. Let's check out the next page now. All right, I just wanted to give you guys some players that have been playing well in regards to some of these categories, like shots gained, approach. Those are the top 10 players entering this weekend's tournament, including Mr. Scotty Scheffler, one of the favorites, Lucas Glover, my boy Morikawa, who choked last weekend. But anyway, so on and so on. Those are some guys that are good at approach play. Hovland obviously is great. Sometimes he struggles around the green, but he is a great approach player, great iron player. And then also in the bottom part of it, I wanted to give you top 10 players from 75 to 150 yards out. I thought it would help you guys kind of just part of your handicapping. As you can see, those are the top 10. You still got guys like Scheffler, Lucas Glover, Morikawa is on this, Chris Kirk, a lot of the same guys in approach shot because, that's a big part of it. 75 to 150 out is an approach shot. But anyways, just want to give you a part of it. Putting, like I said, it can kind of be all over the place, but that's just some player preview for Pebble Beach tournament. Now let's just move on to that last slide. This is just kind of a summary that I like to write just to kind of wrap it all up so you guys know what you're looking for. It's a short, windy, coastal type course. As you guys know, there's no advantage for distance players. Like we mentioned last week, distance was very important. It is absolutely not that important on this tournament. That's for sure. Like I said, there's not a ton of drivers being pulled out of the bag this weekend. It's a second shot type of course, so approach is very important. We talked about that, and then who plays well in those rainy, windy conditions. You can look that up as well. It just kind of gives you a help. Sometimes those England players are pretty good at playing in bad weather because they play in it a lot. Those European players, but and then be solid around these small greens. You don't want to, if you don't land your chips, your approach shots, anything like that, especially around the greens, you don't land them well, they could end up on the other side. These are small greens and they are tough. And then knock down those short putts. We all know people are going to be missing some short putts, but don't be the guy that just continues to miss those 5 to 10, 10 to 15-foot putts. That's what can separate you at Pebble Beach. So, anyways, I hope that helps. That's a tourney and course preview for the Pebble Beach Pro Am. And now let's get into the best bets. All right, I got 5 total bets for you today for the Pebble Beach Pro Am. I'm going to start with 3 finishing positions and then I'll end it with the 2 outrights. Here we go. Bet number 1, Denny McCarthy, top 20 at plus 225 on ESPN Bet. If you don't know much about this guy, he is a great putter. He is known for being an elite putter. Over the last 24 rounds, he has been the #1 POA putter on tour and the third best scrambler. And scrambling might be a big thing in this tournament, especially if you're missing the green because they are so small. You're going to have to scramble out of bunkers. You're going to have to have a good wedge game, and things like that. So this is going to be important. He is a good scrambler. He definitely has the course history. I mean, this is why I love this value, Denny McCarthy. To get over plus 200 on a top 200 for a guy that has finished fourth and 12th the last 2 years here at Pebble Beach. Now, I understand there's a few more heavy hitters playing in this tournament, a few more of the big guns. But I still think, I mean, he finished fourth and 12th. He knows his course like the back of his hand. Um, Only 4 players have been better than him at Pebble Beach the last 5 years than Denny McCarthy. That's right. That's how good he has been. He is gaining more than 2 strokes per round on the field the last 5 years at Pebble Beach. I mean, guys, that's as good a course history as it gets, pretty much. He shot a 64 last year in one of the rounds. So, when this might end up being a wedge in a putting contest, I'll take my chances on one of the best putters on planet Earth. So, he's a guy who can find fairways. And if he just has one of his normal putting weeks, which is elite, I mean, he's going to be right there. And top 20 is, I think, a little generous, to be honest. So also you got bad weather, and when you got bad weather, you're going to need a guy who knows how to putt the ball. They're all going to be dealing with it, but he's been playing pretty well in bad weather tournaments. He has 2 top 10s in his last 3 tournaments. Finished 24th at the Sony Open already this year, so he's in excellent form. He's got excellent course history, and he's an elite putter, especially on these specific greens. So I love the plus 225 for a top 20 for Denny McCarthy. I just see him to dial in those irons. Just make sure his approach play is decent. I don't want to have to scramble every hole, obviously, missing green after green. He's not terrible on approach, but if he can just have an above average approach game, I don't see any reason why he's not in the top 20 in this one. Obviously, it's over plus 200, so it is kind of a long shot. Top 10 was tempting for me, plus 600. That's maybe worth a tiny little sprinkle, but With all that said, I mean, the real reason you have to take Denny McCarthy is that I just realized we share the same birthday. Not the same year. I am older than him, but we share the same birthday. So there's no possible way of him letting me down, right? You just can't. So, anyways, bet number one, give me Denny McCarthy, top 20, and let's move on to the next bet. All right, this next guy is maybe one of my favorite golfers out there. Give me Jordan Spieth, top 10 finish at plus 190. Um, I don't know if there's anyone out there that has better course history on a course than Jordan Spieth at Pebble freaking Beach. My goodness, guys, how about this? Fourth place, seventh place, first place, ninth, third, and second. Six top 10 finishes, three top three finishes. It's been unbelievable. In the only tournament he played so far this year at the Century, he finished in third place, putted the ball well. That was good to see him in good form to start the year. He's one of those guys. He's just a solid around the green player, solid scrambler, which is huge, obviously, on courses like this with small greens, like we've already talked about. He can't. He is accurate off the tee, but sometimes he can get a little wonky off the tee. But you know what? That doesn't matter as much on a course like this because we mentioned many times before. This is not set up like a U.S. Open where the rough is super thick and you're just in trouble. You can't get to the green or anything like that. It's a shorter course. Fairways aren't that narrow, and the rough is hittable, and you can reach the green still. So not as big of a deal if he has some bad driving accuracy days. So, but this is really simple for me. This guy's absolutely elite at this course. He's in good form. Spieth's one of the best players in the entire world. I think he's going to have a chance to win this tournament like he's done almost every single time out there. But it's just a great fit. He knows how to play in bad weather. He is crafty as hell in rain and wind and all that kind of stuff. He's kind of a craftsman. I don't know what word I'm looking for. An artsmith. I don't know. I'm making up words right now. But anyways, he knows what he is doing out there when it comes to Pebble Beach. He's talked about it before. He circles this date on the calendar every year because he looks forward to it because he knows he can compete every single year. So give me Jordan Spieth top 10 finish yet again at Pebble Beach for my second best bet. All right, this next bet actually has I guess you'd call it the safest odds that we have on the board today for my betting card. Give me Max Homa top 10 at plus 180. Not many people play better in California than the California native himself, Mr. Max Homa. Good course history last 3 years. How about a seventh, a 14th, and a 10th the last 3 years here at Pebble Beach? And he's in great form. He finished in the top 15 at both the Century and the Farmers Open last weekend, so he's playing well. He has missed some putts. I mean, he just has not putt the ball very well so far this year, which is uncharacteristic of him. But yeah, we'll get into that because he's usually a pretty good putter. But he's top 20 this season in total strokes gained, tee to green, off the tee, around the green, and scrambling. All very important things when it comes to this course. He is a solid golfer, guys. In the last year or two, this guy has become a part of that elite class. He is consistent as hell. He doesn't have glaring weaknesses. And the only thing that's held him back in these first couple tournaments, even though he's still top 15, is that like I mentioned, he's 131st in putting so far. I'm not too worried. This is very uncharacteristic of him. It's a very small sample size. He was the sixth best putter on tour last season, due for some big time positive regression with the putting. And if you're finishing top 15 in two tournaments already and you're 131st in putting, I mean, you're going to be right there if you just have an average to above average putting weekend. So it's pretty simple. He's a solid player, especially when it comes to bad weather, which we are going to see. And it looks like the wind is kicking up more and more as you check the weather report. So it's going to be a long weekend for these golfers, that's for sure. But Max Homa, another guy that's going to compete for the championship in this tournament yet again, but I'm just taking a top 10. So give me Max Homa top 10 at plus 180. And before we get into my two outright bets for the Pebble Beach Pro Am, we got a new promotion to talk to you about. All right, we got a new promotion for you thanks to our partnership with OddsShopper. It is FanDuel. They have a great deal here, and FanDuel is the official betting operator of the PGA Tour. New customers only for FanDuel. You bet $5, you get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I know that sounds kind of like a catch, but it's not, guys. All you got to do is this. You click on that link below in the description, you set up your account, and then all you have to do is bet $5 on anything. You don't have to win a certain amount of money. Go put $5 on a minus 1,000, minus 800. Obviously, you're not going to win a lot of money when you do that, but that's not the point here. You get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. So you just have to win anything. It doesn't have to be a parlay or a plus money or anything like that. It's a great deal. It's for new users only. You got to click that link to get set up. And I don't know how long this one's going to last. I think it's only going to be a couple weeks, so make sure to do that soon if you are in a state that works with FanDuel. So must be 21 years or older to gamble. If you have a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. And now it's time to talk some outrights. All right, this first outright bet is a small little sprinkle for me, and it is the biggest long shot I've bet on so far this year. Give me Taylor Montgomery to win the tournament at plus 10,000. That's right. I am only putting tenth of a unit on it, guys. Sometimes I just like to throw some long shots out there. Every once in a while you'll hit, and there's been some huge long shots that have won these tournaments to start the year. But let's talk about this. Putting is obviously very important. We've talked about it over and over again on these tough greens. So why not take a guy like Taylor Montgomery, who was second in strokes gained putting last year in his rookie season, and he's continued it this year at the Farmers Insurance on the same type of those coastal POA greens. He was the 10th best putter in the field. So he's made 7 cuts in a row. There's no cuts in this tournament. We talked about it. It's a no cut event, but making 7 cuts in a row tells me this guy's been consistent, which is what you want to see, obviously. He's finished top 20 in 2 of the last 3 events this year, so he's playing good golf. He's not a guy who's, finishing 60th and then 15th and then 80th. He has finished in the top 20 in 2 of his last 3 events, and he is top 21 this season so far in approach, putting, and strokes gained total. That is really good to see on this course. He doesn't have much history in this course, that's for sure, and that's going to be the one thing. But again, it's plus 10,000. I'm throwing a tenth of a unit on it. That's all. You know what? For a guy who's putting the ball well, who has a good approach game, who's finished in the top 20, is in good form. Why not? You could take a top 20 bet, which would be safer. I think it's about plus 300 for Taylor Montgomery top 20. It's not safe, by the way, but it's safer than outright. That's for sure. But anyways, that's my long shot bet. Taylor Montgomery to win at plus 10,000. And let's move on to the final best bet of the tournament. All right, my final bet for the Pebble Beach Pro Am is an outright pick. Give me Patrick, Mr. Boring Man Cantlay, to win the friggin' tournament at plus 1,800. I got a half unit on this bet. He's not coming in with the best form, but he has unbelievable history at this course. If you can't tell, these are the kind of things I've been looking at for this weekend. It's good history on this tough course. He's coming off a 56th place finish last week at Torrey Pines, where he usually struggles. So it didn't really matter that much to me. But the last 3 appearances at the Pebble Beach, fourth place in 2022, third place in 21, and 11th place in 2020. I mean, it's just been unbelievable. In that third place finish in 2021, he led the field in strokes gained tee to green. So he just plays well here. And we got some trends on our side this weekend. And this goes for just anything I meant to mention these earlier. The past 15 winners at Pebble Beach have all finished in the top 16 at this course one time in the previous 3 years. That's kind of crazy to see, which just means you do need some course history at this place. And obviously, he's finished in the top 16 3 times in a row. 16 of the past 17 winners here at Pebble Beach have at least one tour win in their career. They have won a tournament before anywhere. Cantlay has 8 career wins. So he obviously checks the boxes, and most of those top guys will check these boxes. In the last 50 rounds, he is the second best golfer in the field on courses under 7,200 yards. We use that as on those slides earlier in this video about one of those key stats that you want to look at is how golfers play on these shorter courses. Second best golfer in the field on those kind of courses in the last 50 rounds. He's a top 20 putter in the last 50 rounds on POA greens, and he's a top 20 approach player in the last 50 rounds, which is obviously huge here, too. If he can dial in those irons and get on the green, not have to worry about scrambling, that's going to really help Patrick Cantlay. Last season, third on tour and par 4 scoring, which is very important here. The par 4 scoring, we talked about that too. And second on tour in birdies or better inside 125. We've talked about that. Those approach shots are going to be right in that 125 to 150 range, 100 to 150. It's a wedge course, second shot wedge type of course, and he's one of the best at it at just going up and down for a birdie. So I like that. He's also one of the best golfers on the planet. I mean, he just is. If you don't know him, he doesn't show any emotion on the course. He just doesn't. But he is a very solid golfer. Just had some rough luck the first couple tournaments, but I'm not worried at all. Still striking the ball well. And he's a California native again. He is just like Max Homa. He's from California. He plays on these coastal, shorter courses pretty well. Great course history. Give me Patrick Cantlay to win the whole kit and caboodle at plus 18. If I have another one, I will add it. There was a couple golfers that it was close. I liked Victor Hovland, but if Victor Hovland doesn't hit greens and he has to scramble, I don't love his short game, especially coming out of bunkers and all that kind of stuff. But he's had unbelievable success too. He's won an amateur open here, U.S. Open here, I believe. So he's one of them. But there's a lot of guys. I mean, there's some studs. Rory McIlroy, but he's known for long drives and things like that. And that advantage is just kind of taken away because you're barely hitting your driver at this course. But anyways, those are just a few notes. If you want to talk more golf, join the Discord. Leave a comment below. I'd love to just talk back and forth with you guys. Let me know who you guys have for bets. But those are my five best bets for the Pebble Beach. And let's check out the bets recap. All right, we start with the Denny McCarthy top 20 at plus 225. Then we got a pair of stud golfers with good course history. Give me Spieth top 10 and Max Homa top 10. That's plus 190 and plus 180. And then just our little miracle long shot, little sprinkle. Taylor Montgomery to win the whole thing at plus 10,000 for a tenth a unit. And then Patrick Cantlay, that's the main one. I need him to win. I would love to get an outright win early in the tournament or early in the season. It is hard to pick outrights, guys. If we can get three or four this season, that would be awesome. But Cantlay to win plus 1,800, and any added plays will be in the pinned comments below in X and in Discord. So thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. I love talking some golf, just a good change of pace sometimes from NBA every day or football or anything like that. So leave a comment below. Let me know who you guys have this weekend. And of course, leave your first round leader for a chance to win $40. Hopefully, someone can hit that this weekend. That'd be awesome. So, anyways, appreciate the support. Enjoy golf this weekend. We'll talk to you soon.